Yeah, right. Okay, let me share my screen. Everybody see all that? Okay. Let's take you guys, make it small. Go down here. All right, so let's see here. Jim Bowman has a keynote he's putting together for a book. So let's take a look at that first. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, well, last time we were talking about doing a portfolio and various ways to do it.
Yeah. Are we talking about blurb, right?
Well, we were talking about Blurb, but Blurb wants you to use their website, and it confuses the situation. So I just did a separate one, and then I'll work on whatever I've got to do,
Okay. Yeah, I'll
whether it's
see that.
Blurb or
Yeah,
whatever.
a couple of my contemporaries have put books out for their shows, which is something I got to do yet. Um, I'll find out what they used and send out an email for everybody.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, so you might have some choices. A lot of them do it out of Lightroom though, so it may or may not fit your workflow, but we'll see. Okay,
Right.
let's get started here.
Okay. So, rather than just looking at all of them, maybe we could just decide. Sandy, why don't you just stop and talk about whichever ones? I mean, this is just all of them are from Mexico, and all of them are just different studies that I've taken on. And I say studies, I mean, the face is a study to me.
Okay, well, I think it's a nice cohesive body of work. I looked at it already. And I think everybody should see it. So I'll just glance through it and pause. And if anybody has questions or wants to stop on one, we'll just do that.
Right, there you go.
Okay. All right. So here we go. There's the next one. And the next. Yeah. Yeah. This one could probably use a little more punch. It seems a tad muddy
Yeah,
to the
it
other
it
one.
was flat in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. You might be able to cheat a little more in there.
Yeah.
What size book is this?
This is 20 frames, but it could be any size.
Okay.
Yeah. I can see the difference here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big. So you may want to try and balance that a little more. I noticed it a little bit here between these two, but
Right,
I think there's enough going on there. That It's okay. She almost has like a nice glow on the left, even though it's a hair flat. I like it.
right,
But this one needs to get punched up.
right.
Let's go back to that one. All right. I think we saw this kind of
Um,
scale last time. Guy, yeah.
these these were the Lock. I don't know if you've heard of the Lacandon Indians. They live in the state of Chiapas, Mexico.
Mhm.
Going back when I don't know if you can these here, and they were. I think what's interesting about them is that the Spanish drove them into the jungle when they first arrived in 1500, and then these people have stayed the same ever since. They came out, and nobody hardly goes and sees them. They're way back in the jungle.
Yeah, I have an
That's
interesting.
story.
Yeah, when we were over in Irian Jaya, which is the western half of New Guinea, the island above Australia, um, they didn't know these tribes existed until the late 30s when somebody flew over the jungle and saw them. And
Yeah,
all of a
yeah,
sudden,
they're really. I mean,
this whole
there's
civilization.
not many groups like this, but
Yeah,
they do exist.
yeah, and they didn't change at all. That's amazing. It's even when we were there in the 90s. Okay. Again, this one just a little more snap.
Yeah,
Not much,
for
just
sure.
kind of pull it up. Yeah, this one works. I like what's going on here with the different groups of people and the way they fade out in the background from the dust. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah. This is a ceremony at Easter time that they always do.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was a baptism or something else.
Uh, well, not exactly. But they are with their they have just a memory of their own ceremonies.
Hmm. Gotcha. Nice. This almost looks like the gatherings during the Day of the Dead in the cemeteries.
I can't hear you.
I said this almost looks like the gatherings for people in the cemeteries on the Day of the Dead.
Well, believe it or not, this is a kitchen,
Oh, okay.
and that's what their kitchens look like.
Yeah, one of those outdoor cooking areas. I see. Nice. I like the light, the backlighting coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The littlest one there.
yeah, probably, yeah.
it's
The lighting on that's great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wondering, now I'm seeing the sepia, if maybe I might want to consider doing everything sepia.
yeah, there's I was kind of schizophrenic whether you could do different tones or whether you just if you picked one you had to use it every
Oh,
time.
no, you can do whatever you like. I mean, the other thing is, some of them have, the kind of sought out, you know, negative holder look, border.
Yeah, in fact, I've got one
Yeah,
that
me too.
negative folder look.
Yeah, yeah. I used to do that to all mine so I could prove they were full frame back in the day. But
Yeah,
yeah,
back in the day.
back in the day. Oop, I'm back ahead. Yeah, let me back up here. There we go. Okay.
Yeah. So again, this is
So, this was
this
15, so maybe you might want to add that to it as well. I don't know. It's basically up to you. I kind of like to keep a cohesive look across things and not necessarily the color, being sepia and black and white, but the look, if you're gonna do that kind of.
right, right. And it's kind of part of the discussion I'd like today would be,
Yeah.
do
What do you
you
guys think?
and mix the mediums like with
Kind
with
of
the frame.
there, it's just laying it up to his mouth, doesn't look right.
Yeah, it's like he's blowing smoke.
I can't hear him too well.
Yeah,
That
okay.
crack in the wall.
What do you say?
Oh, he's thinking the crack in the wall kind of looks like he's blowing some smoke out of a pipe or something. But no, I'm talking about kind of the cohesiveness.
Yeah, no, I agree
Do you,
with
do
you,
you,
yeah.
do you agree that he
Yeah.
should maybe carry the borders and stuff? Not necessarily the sepia versus black and white, but I
But
think,
the borders.
yeah, maybe pick kind of a border feel. And they don't all have to be the same. I've seen they differentiate,
Right, right.
but yeah, still have it be in that same kind of style.
Well,
So
that's good to know. I mean, I haven't done one of these before, so
sure, sure. So even this one's acceptable, even though it's thinner, but you're getting that across and
right.
yeah. Okay. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, he's another one. It's in Mexico, but it's the state closest to Guatemala.
I was gonna
It's
say,
called Chiapas.
yeah, maybe like he could be Guatemalan or even Peruvian.
Yeah, same group.
Mhm. I would consider maybe toning this down a little bit. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
I like the way it frames her, but yeah, I'd bring it down a little bit so it doesn't compete so much.
yeah. Okay, that's a good suggestion.
Okay. Hardworking people.
What'd you say?
Some hardworking people there.
Well, yeah, they all
Yeah, it's a tough,
really have to work hard.
yeah.
Uh,
Very traditional roofs there. Nice.
yeah, this is again in Chiapas, the state of Chiapas.
Mhm.
I think we saw this last week.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a real big one.
real nice.
Man,
That's a good way to end. Yeah. Don't know if you need the end page or not, but
no, I was just,
yeah, it's up to you. Great. Well, thank you.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think with a few of those changes, you've got a pretty cohesive body of work there.
yeah.
You could,
What I would like to know is, see, there's two choices to go with either a look of like kind of a tabletop or what do they call them? You
coffee
know,
table book,
uh, what?
like a coffee table book.
Yeah, coffee table book. That's what I was looking for.
Mhm.
Or whether you just ought to put them online and just, and then, I would be interested in where you do it and how you do it. But
Well, do you have Photoshop and Lightroom?
no, I don't. I've got Lightroom, but I don't have Photoshop.
Oh, okay. Do you have a subscription or just a hard copy?
No, just a hard copy.
Oh, okay, because with a subscription, you get a portfolio online, but you could easily find various ones that you could do that are paid or just sometimes when you join a host to host a website, they'll have the tools where you can make portfolios pretty easily. Or the other ones are, like what's it? Smug Mug and
Yeah, right.
there's a few others like that where you could just do it for free, you know.
Shutterfly. maybe.
Shutterfly, yeah, there's one or two others, yeah.
Yeah,
Depends on what you're looking for. If you just want to get it online and show it, those would be the easiest way to do it and most economical.
If you do blur, you automatically get a digital. I think it's $4 or something, comes with it, so.
You get a digital book?
Yeah, you get a digital book with it.
Okay,
I think it's
so
$4.
yeah, Jim Murphy was saying that Blurb offers an online version as well when you print it with them.
oh,
Okay,
well,
that
maybe
they
that's the
also
way
have,
to.
yeah, they
So,
also have a store to sell them, I believe, right? Yeah, so people like,
so you can do everything on Blur.
yeah, it's kind of like a,
That's because that'd be interesting to do a tabletop and then an online version kind of like thing.
and what a lot of people do, since a tabletop book is very expensive for some people, is to do what they call a magazine version. Well, basically, it's just a soft covered bound book, but a big, it's like
Right.
11, or I think they make a smaller one. But that way you offer it in more than one type of medium and price point, which would be helpful.
I see. Okay,
Yep.
good. Well, thanks.
Else I'll send it out to everybody. Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot and stick along.
Yeah, I can stay on just a couple of minutes more.
Yeah, stick around for as long as you can. And well, we might as well just keep on going down here. Let's grab Kim's. See, you were just in right behind us and
It sounds like it.
Petra, yeah.
You've seen
I
that?
know that car.
I know that car too.
Yeah. We were up there 2 weeks ago. That was when it was chilly here, but let me tell you, it was chillier up there.
Oh, yeah.
Low 40s wind, well, the day we were in the park, wind gusts up to 16 miles an hour. We had some sleet snow showers at times that would come and go. But I took this into Topaz
Mhm.
and put two different looks on it. One was I think it said clear day or something, which brought out a bit more of the dense. And then, I can't remember what the other one was, maybe one of the grunge looks, to give it a bit more old dirtiness look to it, but what a cool car.
Yeah, yeah.
Just what a neat, and I just, as obviously by the time of day we were there, the shadow that was coming off of it was great too.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
I like that.
windows and everything.
Yeah. I like that little caddy grill they have, almost like a tombstone,
Oh,
where you park.
Mhm.
That's kind
Yeah.
of fun too.
Yeah,
Was there a train going by?
that one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did find it interesting, they said, of course, I don't have them in the picture, in this picture, because I cropped, you know, it's cropped real close. The, telephone poles that are there are the original
Mhm.
poles that mark the Route 60.
The old 66, yeah, you can
Yeah.
see a few of them here.
Yeah, I did tell, yeah, I tried to brighten them up, you know, darken and brighten them up a little bit. Too,
Yeah.
so you could see them there.
Nice. Yeah, there was a train coming when we went, so I stopped and I'm taking a picture and one of the rangers was coming by. It starts waving his finger at me. Well, because I just pulled over right before the bridge and it's
Oh,
not
okay.
yeah, but nobody was around. All of a sudden he came out of
This
nowhere.
is the Petrified Forest National Park, Painted Desert.
Yeah, there's a painted desert.
Painted Desert.
Fantastic.
I think I got these out of order here, so I think you did a black and white of the
I
same
did,
one,
yeah,
right?
I did the black and white.
Yeah, we'll look at that next.
Yeah, and just, I played with the curves a bit to bring the colors out a bit more, because it wasn't over, you know, you can tell by the clouds, overcast day.
Yeah, yeah.
Sun would come and go. For this one, actually, I did brighten it some, but there was some sunshine to bring out the colors.
Mhm. So here's the black and white. Which do you guys prefer?
You prefer the color.
I like the color.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I can do too.
yeah.
Maybe get real moody with the black and white, like take that sky and make it real scary and
Scary looking.
yeah,
Okay.
why not?
Scary.
Yeah, I mean, you're already there. Okay,
And then these are the teepees.
yeah. That's a real area.
It's just, we were surprised at how spread out it is. That it's actually on both sides. of the
Goes
interstate.
forever.
It goes forever,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And unlike like Joshua Tree, at least you've got scenery as you're driving all over the place in Joshua Tree. This place here, it's really barren.
Very barren,
Uh,
yeah,
And then you come upon this.
yeah. I couldn't imagine back in the day walking across this area.
No.
Just, wow,
Not a bad.
yeah. Yeah. Let's move Jim down here a little bit. There we go.
And then this is in Winslow.
Of course.
Yes, I stood on the corner and had my picture taken. But I took this again into Topaz and applied a couple filters because it just was kind of dull otherwise on the wall that it's on, the brick wall.
Yeah.
So it's a burnt edge look, which put some color in the wingtips, which I thought was kind of cool.
Mhm.
And then I did a blur to the background a bit to blur the wall
Mhm.
down.
Yeah, I don't remember this being there before. Well, I haven't been there probably 10, 15 years.
Oh, really?
I know that the statue on the corner was there, so it
Yeah,
wasn't
there's
that
two
long
different
ago.
statues
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Two
yeah,
different statues,
right.
and this is the building that has that's not really a building, it's just a facade with the mural on it, and then this was off to the side.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Still have
that's
the
on
truck
there.
there on the corner.
No.
Oh, they had a flatbed before.
Yeah, they had a flatbed and
Yeah, I did.
then that hotel over on the train tracks. Yeah, that's pretty
No,
awesome.
yeah, La Posada.
La Posada,
Yeah,
yeah.
we went to the Turquoise Room for dinner.
Oh, nice.
Really good restaurant.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah.
But no, yeah, because I would have taken a picture of the truck, so no, it wasn't there.
Okay. Thanks.
Mhm.
All right, let's get.
Gotta go, Sandy. Thanks so
All
much.
right, thanks, Jim. We'll see you next time.
Uh-huh.
All right, take care. Okay, Paula.
Ooh, this is back at the Huntington garden. And it's,
Where's Huntington?
San Marino.
Oh, San Marino. Okay.
Yeah, It's a big garden, museum, library
Mhm.
combination.
Okay.
um,
Little bonsai tree,
The ones I took.
nice.
Put up.
Yeah, I like the treatment. Mhm. Nice. Was that just a straight vignette?
Yeah, black.
Cause it almost looks like you dabbled it in, I guess because of the different tones that were being affected by the overall vignette. Yeah, it works nicely.
It's like flower fireworks.
Yeah, it looks like fireworks.
I thought it was fireworks.
Maybe you should put a background of fireworks on this one. Seriously, since you do the compositing anyway, why not? Yeah, why not? Might even put one behind it that's kind of glowing beyond it too. You know, just a thought. Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah, that's really nice. Very nice. You know, maybe just tone these whites down a hair.
Yeah.
And I think that would help.
Okay, the next three were taken at the art museum.
Mhm.
This is one of the bird ornaments.
It's an old DeSoto, I think. Yeah. You know, I can't remember. I know the Plymouth had like a Indian chief. And this is the DeSoto, but it used to light up at night. I don't know if this one does it. Yeah, I don't know if this one does or not, but I definitely think about lightening it. Let's check that out. Yeah, I'd brighten that up no matter what.
And I toyed with that, so I,
All right, so we're gonna go in the localized filters and no, that's presets. Hello. They're there. Just grab a brush and auto mask it real quick. There we go. There. And then the first thing, maybe we'll just add a little exposure and see what's in there. There we go. Yeah, I think that might help it out a little bit. Maybe just let's see if clarity might, yeah, give a little contrast and snap, make it a little sharper. I don't think dehaze is gonna help it out. Okay, yeah. See something. Oh, it doesn't work. All right. Yeah, so yeah, I think that helps it out a bit. Okay. Oh, that one's nice. Like that. No, maybe. Oh, you can see it much better there. I was thinking maybe just bring up the face a little bit, but yeah, I think we're okay. And the old Studebaker.
Year without me.
Be in the 50s. Yeah, yeah. My neighbor growing up through grade school, his father had one in the garage and we used to play around with it and build it. It wasn't running, so we kind of just messed around with it. Never quite got it running, but he also built an airplane in the basement and then had to dismantle the wings to get it out the door. Not much I'm planning, but whatever.
I like the background.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Yeah, and then you put a nice shadow to ground it. Yeah. Maybe darken these tires down just a little bit, so they drop back. Yeah, nice. Good stuff, Paul. All right. Good, Tim.
Actually, I've not been doing this very long. So these are photos I wanted to get some reactions from. This one, I kind of like it, but am I not supposed to like the background, the circles and?
Oh, the bokeh?
Yeah, I mean, is that,
I think it,
to me, that works for me, but
I think it works. I would maybe tone this guy down just a little bit.
yeah.
You know, and if you have any more detail you can pull out of here, that'd be great. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely, maybe pull that down. But I don't know, we can take a look at it and see. Of course, it's JPEG. You probably have more in the raw, but yeah. Let's see here. Put camera on. So there's a number of ways. First, you can just kind of start globally and see what happens here. We can pull the highlights down. Yeah, you're getting some more detail right away. Maybe take the whites down just a little bit, but then you don't want to do it overall. So maybe what we might want to do is just do a local mask and do it in a range. We can do a luminance range, so we can pick this area like up in here, and everything that's in that range will be affected. You can bring it down a little. Of course, the more you bring this outer one down, the harder the edge gets. Okay, because I usually tend to leave that one alone unless I'm really trying to get, and then in here you can broaden the range or make it a little smaller. So we can do that. Now the other thing you can do is you can subtract from this by just hitting subtract and taking a brush or other various tools to eliminate areas that you don't want. But let's see what it's doing first. All right. So first, maybe I might want to pull a little bit of white out of it and maybe a little exposure out of it. Just see what happens here. Okay. And let's see if the highlight detail, we can get it again. Doesn't seem to be doing much, except this one it's doing a little bit. But here you can kind of get an idea what's happening here. I think this is getting a little dirty here.
Mhm.
So I think maybe we'll take the exposure back. Somewhere in there. And yeah, it's not doing a lot. So we can start there, and maybe the next thing we'll do is either subtract everything but this round ball, or we'll just make a new one and just take a brush. Whoops, did I get a brush? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And just paint that area, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how it's gonna blend yet, but we'll put a effect on it and see. So basically, I'm just gonna take it down. It's getting dirty, which is gonna be a given. So what we might want to do is get it somewhere around there, and then maybe just. I'm gonna take a look at my brush here. Yeah, my feather's okay. So I made a bigger brush to get a softer edge, and then I'm just gonna kind of spread it out a little bit here. So it just kind of blends in a little nicer. All right. So that's what it's doing right now. And then I can add some yellow to it so it doesn't look so dirty, and gray, and maybe a little magenta, maybe just a hint of magenta.
Mhm.
All right.
Yep.
If you're not getting anything, then you up the saturation, but it looks like we are. So if you up the saturation now, it's going to get too strong. So if anything, maybe I want to bring it down a hair. So it's maybe somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically that's what that's doing now.
Yep.
So it's not competing so much.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. The other thing you can do is just, eliminate it, but I don't know if it's that much of a distraction, or you could blur it. While we have this mask here, we could probably go into clarity and maybe knock that down a bit. Yeah, that might work. And where's sharpness? I know it's, yeah, we even take some of the sharpness out of it. So, yeah, now it seems to blend in a little better with the rest of it. So
Yeah.
there you go. Okay. Yeah, that's another option. Yeah. Now, when you're here, a lot of times I'll make a snapshot in my history, just in case I need it, and I'll put my restore brush there instead of at the opening. Let's see, that's, or actually here, I'm sorry, at the snapshot. Here's where we started. Here. So we're here. We'll just put that there. Okay, and then at that point, maybe I'll go get a blur tool or a smudge tool or something else and see what happens. So here's blur. And let's just maybe make it a little bigger. Oh yeah, it was really small. There we go. Just kind of blend it in. But the nice thing about having that history is, say I went over these feathers and got them too soft. And every time I click it, adds a little more. You know, you can only do so much at a time. We can take a strength all the way up. That'll help too. There we go. Now it looks like it belongs back there a little better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's say, we nick these feathers and we don't like that. So now we'll go back to our, where's my history brush? There it is. See this brush with this little arrow? Yeah. So a little arrow, we have it restoring from this before shot here. So we go back and make that brush nice and small. I'm just hitting the back bracket key and then go in there and just brush those feathers back. I guess that's about all I got. Okay. Now you got that separation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you can kind of overspray and then bring it back.
Yeah.
So you can keep that softness behind there and not worry about going around all these and maybe having, some
Yeah.
artifacts or something happening there. Okay.
Yeah. It's great.
All right. I love this one.
Oh, wow.
That's Topaz Studio, this sun rays.
Yeah, it's sunrays effect they have. That's an overlay, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was that or if you were using the Luminar with the sun rays.
No, this is.
Yeah, okay.
And I have different iterations of this that are not quite as over the top, but I still like this, and I know it's. It doesn't particularly seem realistic, but that's not what I'm trying to do anyway, so. I just like the soaring and burning the light.
Yeah, maybe a little less light might help.
Yeah,
So you don't have this big corner that competes with it,
yeah,
something like that. Might work out a little better for you.
yeah, that does the best.
Okay. Sometimes too much of a good thing kind of distracts.
I have a tendency to.
I do
go
too,
overboard,
but it's better to overdo it and then bring it back than
Yeah.
to not know where too much is.
Right.
Yeah, I always
Sometimes
tend to go that way.
I'll overdo it and I'll look at it again later and I have to keep going back.
That's another good point. Walk away and then come back, and sometimes even a day or two later helps. Yeah, definitely.
So the next two are the same, actually the same image. And,
So here's the before
and
iteration before.
I'm trying to make the bird look, this is like a softer feel. And the next one's a little harder and, maybe more like I saw it. And so I don't know which one, people appreciate the most, or neither, or both, or.
I don't know, maybe something in between.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. I like the soft one, I think a little bit better, but the hard one could be just a little softer, I think would be better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
all right. Got a consensus there. Okay,
Hospice, hummingbird,
mhm.
and, I added the background. And, just really pretty little birds.
Oh, they're wonderful. They're really around a lot now.
It's kind of hard to go too wrong. But,
Yeah.
there's probably a few things I could do, but that's, I really like it.
Yeah.
So are you softening up the background as well, or is that what you're getting from the lines?
In Photoshop, I removed the background and I added I have a file I call backgrounds. And, I just put it in there.
So this bokeh's background you composited in, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Um,
Is there a little twig or something he's on that you're not seeing because of the,
actually, there is a twig there.
Yeah.
Even in the original photograph.
yeah, he's
you
got the
can
feathers
watch
over it. Yeah, he's all
Yeah,
kind of
maybe
puffed
I
up.
Messed it up, but.
No,
And there is a couple of spots that I did kind of, I missed. I didn't realize it at first, but when you look at the thorns on the oak.
Yeah.
There's. like-
yeah, they're not very big. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's easy to
There's a
get.
gray spot like right there. That didn't get, somehow the background didn't.
Oh, in between,
And
yeah,
so
right,
I
right
missed
here.
that, but I guess I could clone it in and do something.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy to do. Was it like an early morning or a cooler day?
Early
It's kind of
morning.
puffed up, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so that'd cover it up too. Yeah. Yeah, that's easy to fix.
That's a nice shot.
It's a real nice shot. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, keep it up.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's go to Alan.
Appreciate everybody's feedback.
It helps. That's why I like being part of a group, because you sit at home or you ask your wife or your kid or whoever's around, and then after a while, it's like, yeah, I need some fresh eyes on this stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Speaking
Speaking of eyes,
So.
she's back.
This is last few weeks ago, and I cropped it in just as the suggestion was and brightened up the eyes and made it into black and white. And I'm really pleased with it. So.
Yeah, I think I like it better. The color was a little distracting. Although those eyes, when we made them really blue, look pretty cool too. Maybe you just bring the eyes, the irises back, and you wouldn't have to do it too strong. You kind of go with a pale blue. Yeah, that might be
I'll
fun.
have to play with that.
Yeah,
I just discovered it.
yeah. Nice. That over at the
I'm at the pond.
pond, yeah.
Really? What
Nice.
time of day do you usually go?
And I know it's all different times. This was probably about 8 o'clock or so.
Early morning.
Yeah, we just got lucky, saw them flying in and followed them around a little bit.
Mhm.
But they're pretty skittish. They just don't like their photograph.
I heard there's a nest right around there.
Well, if there is, headed back towards the ranch buildings.
Okay.
Awesome colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice.
Beautiful colors.
I couldn't resist this little guy.
It's a cutie. Yeah. Supposed to be a blonde toupee. Yeah,
The pond is on.
yeah. Nice.
And this one's also like a pond, of course.
Yeah.
Again, it was nice in color, but
Mhm.
I'm really getting to the black and white, so.
Yeah, I like it.
Same place.
What,
No, I was gonna ask, sorry.
what was your lens,
Sorry?
lens size?
It's 150 to 600.
Okay.
This is fairly close to it, so. But you see the background where it's a little angular there, do you see that? I'm just wondering if that's is that a problem, you think?
No, I don't think so.
Mhm.
That looks fine, yeah.
I have to put a little bit of catch light in here, so.
Yeah, yeah, that works nicely.
What's your shutter speed, 1/4000?
Oh, it's pretty flat. No, it's 2000.
2000, yeah, I think the wings.
Yeah, you get a little bit here, yeah, a little blur there, but gives it a sense of motion. Nice. Yeah,
I like the little bit of blue in his line there. See?
Mhm. Yeah, on the tail and the back. Yeah,
Frozen in time.
yeah, and the delicacy of the flower and everything, yeah, nice.
You could paint some contrast into the wing feathers a little bit more, because they.
Oh, up in here, oh,
They're
yeah,
amenable to that, yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Back.
more contrast, is that right?
Yeah. I'd put-
Yeah, let's go to Luminar. Or topaz. You can do that. Select contrast as well. I forgot what they called it. Haven't used it in so long. All right, so let's just go to edit here and okay. So we can go a little bigger here. All right, so I'm just gonna look at the wings and not worry about the rest of it for now. And just kind of crank it up until I see something I like. So maybe somewhere, well, that's all the way up. Sometimes it takes a little bit to refresh. Maybe somewhere in there. Okay. Now I want to see how it works with the rest of it. And it might be too much. Like in here, it's getting a little
Too much.
too much, see? So there's a number of ways you can deal with this. You can just paint it in. So let's just go down a little bit here. We'll go into a mask and a brush. And I usually like to do coverage and then clean it up later. So I'll just kind of overflow my boundaries a little bit, and then I'll go back to erase. And you can use the X key to go back and forth if you don't want to come over here and click. And then I get a little smaller brush and come back here and clean it up. That seems to work for me. You guys may have another way to do it, but I kind of like overdoing it a little bit. Gives it a little softer edge. Makes it a little easier to blend. And then just get rid of the overspray. Okay. Now, some of these other areas may benefit from this as well. Like the eye. Maybe we might want to put a little more in there. Now, if we put it on the top of the head at full blown, might be a little too much. So I'm going to undo that. And I'm just going to take my strength down. Let me just put a little bit in. You can see how the color is a lot more transparent. It gives you the indication that it's not going on this full. And again, just get rid of the overspray. There we go. I think, yeah, that's enough. Do we need it anywhere else? I don't know. Let's see. I don't think so. All right. Now, what we can do is go back into masking. I don't like the fact that you have to go back to the top of the menu, but that's the way it's made. And then you go down to the mask actions. So what happened was we were in brush and I can't get down to actions. I have to go back and hit this back key and then I can go down the actions. At that point, I can copy that mask. So I can use it again instead of having to repaint it. So now if I go into, say, details. Okay. I can go in here and kick my details up. All right, and again, it's really starting to get a little.
So it's automatically using that? same-
No, it's not using it yet.
No?
It's overall now, see? It's everywhere. So now I go to masking and I go down here to mask actions and I paste it. Now watch the image. See? It's only in the areas you want. So if you want to see, you just hit show, same mask, see? So that's a way to do it.
Cool.
So again, if I go back to the adjustments, you can see that this is really just affecting the areas I want it to and not everything else. Okay. And then while you're here, maybe you might want to think about some other things. I don't know. Let's close that up. Yeah, you could relight can be fun sometimes. So basically you have a near, far, and a depth. So usually what I'll try and do is I'll make the near real pretty dark. It takes a little while to kick in. There, okay. And then I'll see where the depth is. And then I'll adjust accordingly. It's almost like a gradiated mask. Kind of see how it affects different things. And again, with masking, you can take it off things like maybe you want the background to be darker, but you want the flower to stay bright. You can go in, see how the flower is getting darker. Yeah, you could go in with a mask and brush and just say erase, and I don't want it on here. So just get rid of it there.
So Sandy, do you prefer Luminar and Neo to Lightroom and Photoshop or?
I use Neo for basically that little extra icing on the cake because there's tools in here I don't get in Lightroom. And even if they're the same name, the algorithm's slightly different, so it affects the image differently.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like, for me, I like snapping up selectively different areas with it. When it comes to sharpness and contrast, I can do a lot of that in Lightroom now,
Yeah.
whereas 3 or 4 iterations ago, I couldn't do as much. But so I got in the habit of doing it here anyway. But I find even if I get it to the point where I can take it as far as I will before it gets weird looking in Lightroom,
Yeah.
then I'll bring it here and I can get just a little more out of it before it gets crazy, and pixelated. And then just for me, just the cost of admission is this enhance tool. On a lot of images, it just really, even this one,
Yeah.
it takes the saturation and the contrast to a level that I would probably have to go through 5 or 6 different masks and steps to do in Lightroom or Photoshop, and I can just do it with a slider. So it's a no-brainer. It's just, yeah, for that. The other nice tool it has is in the develop module, they have this smart contrast, which is kind of nice. I usually don't give it a whole lot. 20 is a lot. I usually maybe about 8 or 10 is plenty. But you can kind of see. It just gives it just enough of a little snap.
Yeah.
And then if you have blown out areas like in that image you had, sometimes in super contrast, I'll go up into the highlight area
Mhm.
and I'll bring that down. This is not a good example. Let me go back and get your image. Let's see here. This one, I think, yeah. All right, so if we hit that image and we just go into edit, and go down to super contrast and just affect the highlights. You can see how it's pulling them down.
Yeah.
And it warms them up at the same time, so you don't get that mud,
Mhm.
which is kind of nice. And then you can do the midtones and you can open up the shadows a little bit, although they can get milky. So you gotta be careful there. You don't want to do too much. And very quickly get close to where we were before
Right.
without all the masking and everything else. And then you can take a mask and just hit the areas you want as well. So if you just want to affect this area, you could just paint that and the rest won't be affected. So, we can just go in there and just hit it here. And it'll just affect that. So now it's just doing that. Whereas if we clear the mask, now it's doing everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some tools in there I just find really handy.
Yeah.
And then making things really snappy and saturated without getting too saturated or losing detail in saturation. I find there's tools in here I like for that purpose. Like when I show my stuff, I'll show you which ones
Okay.
I did different things in. I think pretty much I did it for all this time, but yeah. Okay. Is that the last one, Alan? Yeah. All right. Thank you. I'm gonna just close my. There we go. Go back to Camera Club. All righty. Let's see. Guess Dave Erickson, you're next. Don, you're okay with time?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we'll get you next then. Okay, excellent. All right.
Madera Canyon a couple days ago,
Ah,
pretty friendly, so I used 600 millimeter. He was on one side of the road and I was on the other. He stood there and posed for me.
nice.
She did.
Yeah. Some ears there. It's interesting they aren't facing you, Yeah.
Yeah, I had one where she was looking right at me. too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually the ears come around even when they're, facing another way.
One ear is going one way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, pretty amazing how they can control those. Nice. I like the separation. She almost looks black and white because she's got kind of a more gray than brown coat.
I noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how you guys feel about this line going through here.
I'd probably take it out.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
The shish kebab line here.
Shot with an arrow.
Yeah, right. No, she's not venison yet. Okay.
The grass.
Yeah.
Talking about the shadow.
Oh, no, we're talking about that little white blade of grass or whatever. Yeah.
Brazia gallery.
Uh-huh.
From the being of teenage Soloros.
Nice.
That's-
Mhm.
and bottom.
Yeah, I should get back to playing with topaz. I kind of abandoned it when I got Neo. There's still some nice things in there that, yeah, yeah. I was using both for a while, and then I just kind of migrated. Oh, nice.
Well, that's it.
That was all in construction barriers when I was there last time.
Yeah, that fire, but they got her back in shape now.
Yeah, it looks nice.
The Grazia Gallery in Tucson.
Yeah, up in the foothills. Yeah, it's really pretty up there. Real nice.
Had some nice spring clouds that day.
Yeah. It also reminds me of the church in Taos with the buttresses. Yeah, probably that same era. Yeah. I think I have the same shot. It's still there, huh? Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. Nice.
Green,
It's even brighter on mine. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, you had a visitor too.
Yeah, the Salt River looking for horses and I'm like, oh, it's a snake.
Oh. Oh, that's too bad. Heck, I didn't have to go anywhere. I had one right in my backyard.
That's right.
Yeah,
I saw that video.
yeah, he wasn't too happy.
No, it wasn't.
A Western Diamondback.
Yeah, that's a beauty.
After I sent you this, I went back and put a little radial filter on the eye to brighten it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's probably a little more detail in that eye you can pick up. Yep. Nice. Good call. Okay, I think, is there another one or not? Oh, that's it. All righty, thank you. Been good. Okay, Don, you're up.
All right. This is just a sparrow that, I think it was down at Canoa Ranch. I just happened to catch him.
Are you still in town or are you back?
No, I'm back in Ohio.
Okay,
This is, oh, probably a month ago, maybe.
okay.
That bird looks angry.
I was disturbing him.
Yeah, yeah. See if maybe Angry Birds or somebody might like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I wonder if maybe blurring some of this stuff might,
Okay.
yeah, bring more attention to them. Not as much as that, but just take it down.
Mhm. Soften it up a little bit.
Yeah. Just a thought. Maybe you don't need so much. Let's see here. Yeah, something like that might work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another option would be to move the bird down a little closer to the bush. And then drop it.
Yeah, you maybe bring them down in here. Yeah. Which wouldn't be too hard to do. It looks like a background's pretty close. You can even just pull this whole thing out and kind of move it down, then blend it.
Okay.
So you don't have to blend as much around him. Yeah.
This was shot off my patio
Oh, nice.
down in the springs. Some kind of a fly catcher, he kept flying after bugs and stuff, and I was trying to time it so I could catch him when he jumped off the rock.
Uh-huh. Very nice. Yeah, I like that nice bright area behind him, kind of brings attention to him. It's almost like a natural radiation there.
Yeah, just the stone and gravel, whatever's on part of the golf course roughage.
Ah, okay. Yeah, nice.
This was down at Sweetwater, or yeah, Sweetwater. I'm not sure if it's some kind of a sandpiper or what it is.
Mhm. Yeah, me either. Be lighten his beak up a little, get us some separation there.
Okay,
Yeah, lighten or darken the area behind, one or the other, but yeah, get some separation going. I'm just wondering if there's maybe a little too much going on here with, yeah, you got like. Well, maybe it can come
drop
down.
it down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, kind of maybe loses one in the foreground and the stuff here. I don't know. Oh. Maybe just lose all this. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, take it clear down.
Yeah, somewhere in there. See what that's like. Yeah, maybe just a little further, get that piece out or just clone it out. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that helps.
okay.
Yeah. Maybe just a hair off this side too. Yeah,
Yeah, that's better.
okay.
Yeah, and this is down at Canola Ranch, the Pawn.
Mm-hmm.
I was wanting to catch him in flight and got several of them with one of the wings are up behind him, and I kind of like this one with the wings in front of him. And he's just leaving the water.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this guy was on the patio too.
Nice.
Early morning and the sun was coming in, kind of lit him up.
Yeah, I'll say. Real nice.
He looks angry too, I think.
Yeah, or maybe inquisitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, good. Keep it up.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Is it warming up back there yet?
Uh, Tomorrow's supposed to be close to 80,
Oh, good.
but then it drops back down into the high 60s and low 70s is where I like it. So
Yeah.
it'll be there for a while, I hope.
Okay. All right, let's see what you got, Jim Murphy.
Wow, I'm doing a little different genre this time. Got some street photography stuff.
There you
I don't
go.
know what this guy's deal was. Ask me what he's.
Is that sponge material or that hat?
This was in Tucson.
Wow. Bizarre. Come up my floor. That is pretty bizarre.
Basically, all I did was darken the background and his face was pretty shadowed, so I just opened it up a little bit.
Mhm.
Where was he? Or where were you?
He was down, they had a folk festival and this guy was, I don't know. he was eating-
Oh, last weekend, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Pam's cousin's husband's involved in that
Okay.
pretty heavily. He does a lot of the
It's a
venues.
big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Had 500 musicians.
Yeah, yeah. I would probably tickle some of that out. Yeah. Your mask probably just didn't come
Oh,
over
my
far enough.
mask was-
Yeah, just get back in there with a brush and just kind of edge it in. Yeah, it's easy.
I don't know if I like the frame on this after the fact, but anyway, so she was a singer. I took several of her, she had a lot of interesting expressions that she would make, when she was singing. There was a microphone there I took away. I don't know what the green thing in her hand is either.
Stress ball or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
She's got a very interesting face.
So
Yeah,
I
quite
did,
different.
there is a topaz on her.
Uh-huh. It's almost like an icon rather than or a caricature. Yeah, interesting.
The fingernail color matches her lip color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually changed her the color.
Did you? Okay. Okay.
Oh, all right.
This was the only person that I asked, can I take your picture? And he was very willing, so he posed for me, so.
Mhm.
Just thought he had interesting things. so.
Yeah, nice.
Is that a real beard or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is what I call a juxtaposition shot.
Yeah.
That was in Nogales.
I was gonna-
Cell phone.
Sit down in the gas, yeah.
On the Mexican side.
Yep, come buy your drugs cheap, yeah.
Feel
Yeah.
safe enough to do that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I took-
yeah.
I took a lot of shots there. I
Yeah.
walked all over, yeah.
Weren't you just down there?
It's-
I like it in black and white.
Me too.
So no birds this week. I'm not showing any birds this week.
Not even snowbirds, huh?
Yeah. that- Yeah, cell phone.
What do you think, maybe something like that,
Yeah. Won't need the
Yeah.
flashlight in.
yeah. Suppose you could come in on the side too.
I don't know if that bothers me or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could just kind of get rid of that stuff on top here. Yeah, do we want to leave that in or not? Yeah, maybe we'll leave it in, okay. Maybe something like that. Clone out that little top part or, yeah,
That's better.
yeah. Or maybe a little more of the plant, somewhere in there. Okay, cool. Let's see, do we have more here? Nope, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. All right, we did Jim, I gotta do Kim
No,
next.
you did not already.
Yeah, we did. That's right. We started with you.
You're so good with them.
That's right. So who we got left? Is that everybody? Yeah. Wow, I guess it's me. Okay. All right.
Oh, wow. That looks like.
You're smiling at you. That was a cell phone shot because I shot through that chain link fence. It came around the front too. So I couldn't get my lens in there enough without seeing some of the links, but that little bitty lens on the camera on the phone, I could manage to squeeze in there. So I got a shot of it. But yeah, here's an example where I punched the saturation up and edged up the grid a bit, with Neo. This one I think is just a straight shot. It's a little town southeast of Salt Lake called Helper. Used to be a coal mining town. And, kind of interesting place. But a woman and her husband had bought about 20 parcels there. And he was a car collector and also started doing these old gas stations. And behind to my left on this one, there's like a row of about 30 or 40 cars just sitting there. It's pretty neat. So like this one, was among them. Again, I did my Neo thing on this one.
Nice.
And then this was just kind of walking around town. Had that kind of nice old feeling. So these old hotels had, the backroom brothels and all the other stuff. 'Cause mostly it was coal miners, kind of like a men's town.
Doesn't mention hourly rates though.
Yeah, right. Well, they didn't have a sign inside, only 6 to a bed. I thought that was a little weird. But yeah. And the interesting thing was they had different mines, and some of the different owners would import people from different countries. So there was like a German group, then an Italian group, then a Polish group. Yeah, so it was quite international, which was pretty cool as well. And
Ah, that's
you know where that was.
cool. That sky is nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I got kind of low for that one, and
Yeah.
I punched the sky. So yeah, I'd do something like that on that black and white I was
Yeah.
talking to you about.
Now, we didn't get out and do the walking around like we had anticipated just because it was just too.
I just put my hoodie up and put a coat over it and gloves on. Yeah.
Yeah, please, and when Moon jacket, long sleeve shirt, yeah.
Yeah, it was still cold, but it was kind of worth. Figured I've been there twice, I might as well get the walk out of the way. Twice recently, I've been there before years ago
Oh,
too,
wow.
but yeah.
Sharp.
And this is in Arches. These guys were climbing, they got up to the top. Yeah. Looks a little phallic, but that's all right. And again, Arches, I kind of forced this one a little bit, but I kind of like it. Between the sky going one way and the rocks going the other. And this is on the way to Chaco Canyon. It's about a half-mile hike in off the dirt road, which was about a 15 or 20-mile run from the main road. And just amazing. You just kind of walk and all of a sudden there it is down below you. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And the whole area is really nice. There's another area on the other side, but it's more like 2 hour plus one-way hikes. And you really need GPS coordinates to find the areas you want to see. But you'll see pictures on, online all the time of these things that are, even more distorted and weathered out. I'd like to get to sometime, but I probably wouldn't do it alone. I'd do it with someone who's been there before. So I eventually climbed down inside and played around with my drone a little bit too, but this was a shot from the floor. And this was just some mountains we saw on the way the night before we pulled off for Painted Desert area. So it's probably just a little east of there.
Uh-huh.
It kind of almost looked like melting ice cream. That's kind of cool. Kind of like that it was late afternoon sun. Yep, so that's it.
Very good.
Thanks. Alrighty, so I guess we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Next week will be I think our last studio class for those who come for that. And we'll see you then, I guess.
Now, if they say